And welcome back to another edition of the Change My Mind podcast.
I won't change my mind because I don't have to, because I'm an American.
Yes, you are, and I'm Wesley Sykes, and through the other side of the ether is the Travis Kelce to my Taylor Swift. It's Mr. Nicholas J. Esquire, one half of a super couple for hire.
Okay, that's where you were going with it. I was gonna say I didn't. You got something you want to tell me? But super couple. Okay, I can get behind it.
We're a super couple, and yeah, I'll be the Taylor Swift. I'll be the prima donna of the group. You know, you could be the athlete.
Okay, that works for me. So I guess maybe we should rename the podcast to Love Story or something like that.
Yeah, we can come up with some catchy Taylor Swift line that I can't think of in the moment. Really
maybe the Anti-Hero podcast.
Hype. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate today too for some of the stuff that we've gotten recently too over the weekend.
The Bad Blood podcast.
Oh wow,
it's kind of like changed my mind, you know.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty. Okay. If someone still has that idea, good for you, because that sounds pretty good.
I think now is to capitalize on all of the Taylor Swift hype that we can. We've got to strike while the iron's hot. You know, this hasn't been a thing that's been going on for 6 months now.
We could be the Taylor Swift podcast that doesn't talk about Taylor Swift.
But we do really good podcast clips. Have you ever seen those where like it looks like it's a podcast, but it's probably just one guy talking into a microphone, making it appear like it's a conversation?
100%. Yes. Yep.
We can do all that. Go viral on TikTok and all that stuff.
There you go. Yeah, that sounds like so much fun.
But we know love is in the air because the Super Bowl last night, as a crow flies, was a little evident of that if you're watching at home. But this week, in honor of Valentine's Day, we are drafting our ideal romantic comedy in a Build-A-Rom draft. Kind of a play on things that we've done before, the Build-A-Cinema draft for certain years, but and also kind of multiverse madness where we'll get into that as we explain the rules of this game a little bit later. But before that, Nick, I already mentioned the Super Bowl. This episode every year we got to do a breakdown of the halftime show, some of the trailers, some of the commercials that we get. So let's start with Usher, baby. USHERRAYMOND. What did you think of his halftime show?
I enjoyed it, and I'm generally not a big fan. Like, I can't say there have been too many halftime shows where like, oh wow, like that was great. Like it just felt like member berries, nostalgia, fine. Like, and I enjoy that. And Lil Jon, anytime he's in the mix, I'm gonna have a fun time.
So. He looked like he had a fun time, just getting up there on the mosh pit and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not one that has like these high standards because I feel like I've seen a lot on Twitter where it's like it stunk, or it stunk until Lil Jon and other guys came in, or Alicia Keys, whatever. But I mean, I had a fun time. It's okay.
I do think that this was kind of narrowed down to a specific audience of millennials. I think our range, maybe early 40s or so. Maybe nothing past 50. Maybe that 30 to 50 range.
Yep, I think that's a very fair statement. That I would anybody maybe some younger people care about Usher, but I almost said Usher. Like
Oh, he goes by that. I think he would recognize that name. The boomers definitely didn't like this halftime show. I'll tell you that much. But I'm a huge fan of Usher. I loved his debut album. I celebrate the man's whole catalog. I did think he was lagging a little bit on his own, so I'm happy he called in the help of his friends. The audio seemed off. It seemed like he had a tough time singing and dancing together. He dances really well, but to be able to sing and pull off those dance moves, he sounded a little winded. I don't blame the guy. I get winded just sitting down talking into a microphone. But that did seem a little bit off. But I love the rollerblade dance sequence. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bringing out Alicia Keys. I jokingly said that was going to happen in the group chat before the halftime show, and lo and behold, it did. To my surprise, I didn't think that was really going to happen. But I am happy that they did bring out Ludacris and Lil Jon there for that. Yeah, is his most popular song, I think. And even will.i.am came out. Didn't recognize him at first, but he's the guy with the helmet on.
Oh wow. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, it took me a second there. Yeah.
But I agree, like I do agree that he wasn't as good by himself, but I guess for me, like it just felt like everything moved upward as we went along. So
yeah,
it didn't like bother me, I guess. But at the same time, you raise an interesting point too, where it's great that we got Lil Jon, Alicia Keys, Ludacris, and I didn't even know will.i.am was there. But there were a few other people, I think, in the mix.
Jermaine Dupri was another guy. He was the short guy in the tuxedo and
There we go.
shorts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like there have been other times where we've gotten performances from solo artists, and then they play their songs that are like with another artist.
Featuring whoever. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and we don't hear that, like the other artist isn't there. That's not
Right. Or they
always
don't
happening.
play that part. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and I just like that's part of what makes the song. Usually, that's part of what makes the song so awesome. I just don't like when that happens.
I agree. And I'll give Usher credit for knowing to call in his friends. You know, he's like, all right, this is a big moment. It's not all about me. Let me bring in some of the people who help do all this. Also, shout out the marching bands. Bringing out the marching bands is always a slam dunk for me. You're gonna get bonus points just for doing that alone.
Yeah.
But because I think back, I don't know if this was last year or 2 years ago or whatever, but the weekend performance, it was fine, but he did everything by himself there, and it just wasn't. You know, it just like you said, where Usher built up, that never it just kind of stayed stagnant for the performance.
I think when you have an opportunity to make it an ensemble in some capacity, that this is the time to do it. The Super Bowl is the time to do it. It's one of the most commercial events, if not the most commercial event, like in America. Why not get weird with it and get crazy? And in this case, he has so many people that he's collaborated with and had hits with. Why not just do as much of that as you can? And Lord knows there's like enough money for the NFL to pay for all these people to make appearances.
I don't think they pay. I don't think they pay the Super Bowl halftime show. I think it's all just based off of like marketing and promotion and like backlogs to your catalog that everyone listens to. I don't think they pay for that.
Well, that's. I feel like I've heard that before. Actually,
Yeah, I was shocked about that too, because you think it's like, oh man, exactly like you said, they got so much money to dole out for this, but I guess they don't do that. They get free advertising.
I'd love to see that. I feel like it's been such a long time since we got a rock band for it. Like
That's true. I think Aerosmith, right? That I think back to that one. It
that's
was like the 2000 Super Bowl with
yeah.
Nelly and Britney Spears and NSYNC and Aerosmith. I think they were all together.
Was Nelly
You
and
two.
Britney Spears? Oh yeah, you too. I mean, in Tom Petty band, but like
Oh yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't scratch that same itch for me necessarily. But yeah, like I'd love like if we could get like Blink.
Bruce Springsteen or Blink would be a good one. Yeah, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
I'd love if we could get Blink. That would be great. But yeah, I feel like we
Mhm.
don't get that as much anymore. But that's like I just one time would like just to have that mix in. But
Yeah, and unless you're really one of like the pop diva megastars like Taylor Swift, Beyonce, even Beyonce brought out Destiny's Child, but that's kind of different. But
mm,
Lady Gaga, you know, like they don't need to bring out anybody, you know.
yep, 100%. I mean, honestly, too, unless Taylor Swift really wants to have that on her resume or wants to experience that, I mean, why would she do that? Because you know what's going to happen. I mean, people are just going to be like, get her out of here. We can't get rid of her. Blah.
Well, the one of the many conspiracy theories surrounding Taylor Swift in the NFL was that they approached her to do the halftime show, you know, this summer or like prior to the season, and she said no. And they're like, well, how about we just link you up with Travis Kelce, and then we get a season's worth of marketing between Taylor Swift and the NFL instead of a 30-minute halftime show at the end of the year.
Wow,
Which is compelling, right? It's like that sounds like that could make sense.
that sounds so ridiculous. The
Yeah.
the second half, the first half, I completely buy because I remember hearing that like she said no. Like I mean, of course,
Yeah, the
the rest
first
of
part.
it.
I think that might be true. But then it's like the spiraling out of control thing that leads into the conspiracy.
That sounds like a '90s like movie kind of thing. Yeah, it's like, hey, wait, but we didn't really meet together. It was all part of a scam or sham or whatever. Like what?
Yeah, they signed some sort of contract and you know, a non-disclosure NDA, and then they go about their business. Everyone gets their money and publicity, and then no one's none the wiser.
So in this fictitious scenario, Travis Kelce's
Maybe.
in on it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, got it. Okay,
No, no, this
I was
would be
saying he
like a
wasn't.
Truman Show. Oh yeah. No, that morally that might be worse.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I don't know. I guess I figured you can't trust Travis Kelce to just hold this in by himself, and then even then, his brother, who as much
That's
as
a
he can
good
be,
point.
Yeah, as much as his brother can be a wild man, I feel like he would probably let it slip accidentally at some point too.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're like, listen, Pat Mahomes is already taken. We can't break up them. They got a couple of kids together.
Mm.
Let's go with the second best player on the best team in the NFL right now, the most marketable team in the NFL.
Sounds like a
It's crazy, but also I
little
don't
bit.
think it's that far fetched.
Okay.
What we don't have to fetch too far for anymore, Nick,
Ooh,
is the Deadpool and the Wolverine trail, or Deadpool and Wolverine. Is that what we're calling it now?
Deadpool and Wolverine. Yep.
That trailer, the teaser leaked online. I kind of liked this tactic by a lot of the trailers. They'll give a 30-second spot. They don't blow, the millions of dollars that you need to show a 2 or 3 minute trailer for a movie. Go check it online. You still get all the views online of everyone checking it out afterwards. Because I think they did the same thing for the Quiet Place movie, and then also the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yep.
As well as this Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. I watched it this morning. Very interesting, although very little Wolverine. It's all Deadpool.
Very little Wolverine. I gotta imagine that's primarily because like Hugh Jackman's days again. As we all know he like did Logan and was supposed to be done, and Deadpool. It's so synonymous. Ryan Reynolds brought him back into the mix, like which is great. But you gotta imagine like he's only got so much time left to play Wolverine. That's going to be, I would think by the end of this, who the new Wolverine is. By the end of this movie, we know who the actor is going to be.
Oh, you don't think he sticks around for Secret Wars, perhaps?
Maybe they could make that work. But
yeah.
I just don't think, I don't think he's going to be the MCU's Wolverine. Like he's not that guy. He just can't, he can't be.
Yeah. He's too long in the tooth, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was a pretty interesting trailer. They got the whole gang back together. Everyone's back there, and he's, Deadpool's got kind of like a 40-year-old, 50-year-old suburban dad haircut. It looks like he's living a clean cut life, and then all of a sudden the TVA comes knocking on his door. It's like, hey, what probably happened is like, hey, you messed around with time traveling, saving his girlfriend there. You need to suffer for those crimes. Now do this work for us. You're kind of on this like work jail program.
That's a good call. That's a really good call. 100%. I was just so excited watching it that I didn't even think like connecting dots as much. Like, look, that's a great call. I saw that the when you see the moment where Deadpool's like reloading his guns and it's all like flashy slow motion. I didn't realize when I first watched it, like that's the 20th Century Fox like logo behind him,
and the TVA or like the Void or whatever it's called, right? Yeah.
Yep. So they did a great job with the trailer, and I mean for all the stuff we've been saying for a while. At least I felt this way that like once X-Men comes back into the mix, like this whole like Marvel's dead, Marvel's screwed, whatever. Like it's going to be a thing of the past. Because the X-Men
hope so. Yeah.
The X-Men have been until the MCU, the X-Men were Marvel's best property outside of Spider-Man. And since then, obviously that has changed in varying ways. But like now you throw them in the mix, you have Ryan Reynolds to kick things off, and Hugh Jackman's going to be in there. And now we get a little slice of what that's going to look like. I've never felt like more like solidified in that take.
I hope so, because if Marvel does ruin the X-Men, there will be heads that roll.
That would be insane if they did. Like I can't see that's part of like my confidence in all this too, Wes, is Fox didn't do a great job with it, but they did. It was still good. Yeah. They still had I think the first one deserves a ton of credit because it's before Spider-Man, right after Blade. Still very good, and obviously they cast Hugh Jackman as Wolverine at a time where he wasn't Hugh Jackman. You still have X2, which is awesome. You have
First Class, Days of Future Past.
Yep, those two. And like those four right there, like those are all good movies. That future, either way, like it's like those are good movies. Everything outside of that, yes, they screwed up pretty much everything else.
Yeah,
But still, what was that like? Did they do 10 movies? 30% of the time, I don't know. Call me crazy, but for a company that's pushed so many of the right buttons, I understand people are frustrated about what's been going on recently with Marvel, but they're also trying to readjust their shit. So if they're
Mhm.
reassessing that and then making adjustments, and now you hand them the best property that Marvel has outside of Spider-Man, I mean, I feel like that's a recipe for success.
I
You know,
hope so. I hope so. I'm remaining optimistic here, cautiously optimistic, as they say.
cautiously. Wow. Okay.
A little bit there. I just don't want them to ruin it. That's all. But I'm excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. And another thing that I saw
So
floating
good.
around, there's this. You mentioned the 20th Century Fox in the backdrop there, but there's another scene where he's in like a snowy forest and he's kind of looking over. I think he does like a wave or a thumbs up, which is a callback to one of the other movies, almost to call like a truce for a moment. But some people are speculating that they're
Yeah.
back in Sokovia at the setting of the Avengers Age of Ultron movie.
Oh, I
And
did.
there,
Mhm.
that would be an Eastern European country where someone like Doctor Doom could pop up.
Oh,
And I think there is even someone who kind of looks like it. There's a guy who's in like a hood who looks like he's wearing an iron mask that's shooting a gun pretty quickly.
hmm.
There's other illusions. There's like a copy of Secret Wars. You might know this better than me. Maybe number 5 that has Doctor Doom on the cover that they make an allusion to there. So yeah, it feels like that could be a good spot for Doom to get introduced or at least teased out.
Yeah, that would be really cool, and I did see that, at some point, the Secret Wars cover, and also, I with the where you're talking about with, like, being possibly in Sokovia and everything, like, I was thinking, 'cause I saw somebody tweet out, like, Deadpool is gonna bring back Quicksilver, like, as a speculation type thing.
Oh yeah,
So that
okay.
that would be kinda cool if they were able to do that as well. Which one?
Yeah, and that would be that I feel like that's a punchline fourth wall break waiting to happen right there,
Mhm.
right? But this seems like it's going to be Endgame-esque, where he's going to be going back in time and fixing things,
Yep.
or trying to fix things and probably making matters worse in some way. Then ultimately, so if he can go back and visit the old movies, I think that's a cool idea, even though that's already been done before.
Yep.
With him, that would be fun.
Totally, it's a totally different experience just because he's breaking the fourth wall. There's so like yeah, there's so much that he can still do that has been done before, but he makes it a different experience.
And lastly, favorite Super Bowl commercial.
I mean, I think this is kind of a no-brainer. It's
The
got to be the
Dunkins?
Duncan. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Dunkins. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
amazing.
Matt Damon was great. Very little speaking parts, but he nailed every one of them. True pros pro.
Yep, 100%. Like there were other good ones in there, but when I see this question, it's like there's this. That's the only one that for sure is like sticking with me. That's not a movie trailer.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't watch, I was traveling back from my father-in-law's house back to our house at a certain point. So, I didn't have my eyes on all the commercials there, but I didn't see any Bud Light commercials
There was a
or
Bud Light
There
commercial,
was, yeah.
and there was a Budweiser commercial.
Oh,
The
okay. I'll have to go through, one of those clickbait articles and see them all.
Yeah, the Bud Light one was, like, genie inspired, not like G Aladdin genie, just like, someone people making
Like
wishes.
I Dream of Jeannie.
More like that, yeah,
Okay,
and it
okay.
was like, I wasn't locked in on that one, and then I'm pretty sure Budweiser was, like, um, the that was Clydesdale, like, going back to your roots, that
Yeah.
kinda thing.
Sure, sure. Okay.
Yeah,
That would have been a good opportunity to bring out Shane Gillis in some way, shape, or form. Just really whore him out as much as possible. Uh
I thought they were going to, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I think that anything else on the Super Bowl halftime show, commercials, anything else you want to mention?
I just want to take a mini victory lap and say that 47 and a half was the total on that game, and I had the
Mhm.
under on that one, and whoo, whoo, that was friggin' close, man. I was feeling real good, and then overtime, and it's like, I kind of want the Niners to win, but at the same time, I just want the under to hit.
Yeah, but that felt like that once you got to overtime, then you had to feel pretty good about it, right?
Not under the playoff rules, because if the Niners had scored a touchdown in the regular season, if the
Mhm.
Niners have the ball first and they score a touchdown, then it's game over. But in this instance, if the Niners scored a touchdown, the Chiefs had a chance to respond and score a touchdown.
Is that what all this like hullabaloo was about, like the Niners not knowing the format? Okay. I thought it
Mhm.
was still if you score a touchdown, you win. If not, the field goal extends the game because that didn't really come in too much because they ended up kicking a field goal, so it extended the game anyway. But
if they had, well, and I saw this afterwards too, and I think this was like speculated and then confirmed. If the Niners had scored a touchdown and then just kicked it, then the Chiefs would have, if they had scored a touchdown, they would have gone for two, because then they win the game, as opposed to extending it in like running the risk of the Niners then scoring. And I think if they scored at that point, then it's like game over. So yeah, it was not their best move, but at the same time, like I was like, well, like normally I'd feel pretty good, because like now we get if we get a couple field goals or whatever, we're fine. But in this instance, it was not great.
Yeah, and they don't even need the extra point, so that worked out well for you there.
Yeah,
and the Jake Moody missed PAT.
Yeah, I felt bad for the Niners because of that punt that they screwed up on. Like, yeah, but yes, that PAT, man, God, you're so right about the PAT though. I mean, like it would have changed the dynamic at the end of the game still a little bit, but wow.
Yeah, because it would have. I mean, the under probably would have hit, because that was in regulation. That would have gave them the 1-point lead.
Yep.
That would have gave them the 4-point lead, right?
Yep.
And instead of just going down kicking the field goal, they got to score the touchdown at the end.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But it's just crazy. Like I never get over like how good the books are. Like
40's right on the nose there. That's pretty good there. And also, yeah, I was doing some bets with Julia. She had Brandon Ayuk over 49.5 yards. And he had 49.
Oh, that was tough.
Yeah,
oh man. Because there was one pass too that he was that like would have taken care of it for you guys there. He was, I mean, it must have been like at least a 7-yard pass, and it got deflected at the line of scrimmage. Like it's, wow, that's tough.
Yeah, the books are good. They're the books for the reason there.
Yep, that's for damn sure.
Speaking of books, Nicholas.
A superb choice.
Well done, sir. Yes, so for the comic book minute this week, just two titles that I really wanted to highlight. We have Kill Your Darlings issue 6, a creative team from Image that we've had on TLDR twice now. We're nearing the end of this story. It is an 8-issue story, and it's just one of those must-read series that are out there right now. There's quite a few good ones, but this is like a tier above the rest. And then the start of a new awesome series is the Infernals. We just had that creative team on a little while back, ahead of their FOC over on TLDR. If you want to learn a little more about that, go listen to that conversation. But for as a little bit like the elevator pitch that they have, that is, what's that? Oh, I should have written this down. What's that show about the family, West? I think it's like on Apple TV, like the corporate family that
Succession.
Thank you. Succession meets The Omen. That's the pitch.
Okay.
Yeah. Then for TLDR this week, we interviewed the creators of Morningstar, which is a Mad Cave Studios title. You guys can go check that out after you're listening to Change My Mind. We do have a mainline episode coming your way as well this week. And also, I mentioned this a few weeks ago on the show that I'm part of a project that's going to be coming out. It's called The Cloakroom, which some of you may be familiar with it if you've seen Tales from the Cloakroom, presented by Scott Snyder, of course, one of the all-time Batman writers, among other things in comics. This is an offshoot of that in the first issue of this anthology series. I will have a story in this. It's almost complete. The art is almost done, and then we're going to be putting in the lettering and everything. But that is going to be launching the day before Valentine's Day, so the day after we're recording this. So there'll be a whole launch thing and everything. So I will be sharing that link with everybody so they can take a look, and I will at least be going on Dork to talk about this a little bit more at length, and definitely can talk about it more on here. And
I love it.
And I'll be sending the pages to Wes too, so he can give you guys maybe a little insight for the listeners.
Yeah, I would love that. Absolutely. Big day, Valentine's Day for you, huh? I love it.
Yep. So very excited about it, and I love the art. And some people have probably seen it already if you follow us on Twitter. We tweeted out all some of the first couple pages of art. So very much looking forward to it. And if you're into comics or you know someone who is, maybe let them know once this goes live to maybe in case they want to support it.
All right. Love the good comic book minute. Let's get over to our main topic right now. Are you ready for our main topic?
Yes, sir.
Tommy, are you ready? Are you here?
All right, now let's go get him.
All right, I love it. Okay, let's get going here. So, a Build-A-Rom draft, cinema draft is what I have written down here. So this is kind of like if our build a cinema draft had a baby with our Multiverse Madness episodes here. That's kind of what it works. We got 7 categories. Nick and I will go back and forth, kind of working our way through our draft. At the end, we pitch a movie based off these 7 categories, which are setting or backdrop. We have a male lead, female lead, supporting male, supporting female, a relationship obstacle, as well as a big romantic gesture. So we're going to be drafting these from romantic comedies that we've seen, maybe some of our favorites through the years. And then at the end, we'll pitch a movie, we'll give it a title, and we'll give you the elevator pitch there for it too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to go in any particular order with these, just for those listening at home.
No.
We'll continue. We'll do it like snakes, as much as just you and I, snake style as normal. Wes, I would like to give you the chance to draft first, or if you want to have the first snake pick, your choice.
Okay, I'll do first overall here.
First overall.
But before that, Nick, do you have any favorite rom-coms?
Oh, favorite. I don't know if I want to say anything before, because I might tip my hand.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think the definition of what a rom-com is, it could be stretched here a little bit. Some of these I was looking, because there's love that happens within movies, but maybe it's not a romantic comedy. Maybe they're more like high school coming of age movies that have like a romantic element to it.
Yeah, like a good example of that I will show my hand on this. 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes, absolutely.
And personally, like, I found that tough to incorporate in this, as much as there are characters that I like, because you're dealing with like teenage kids, and like all these other ones are like adults. So it's like, this doesn't translate, and you know what? One thing that I wanted to know. So there obviously rom-coms are not this new thing. They've been around longer than you and I have been on this planet. So I do want to make sure that you're okay with this concept. If we take, let's say, Roadhouse isn't a romantic comedy. Let's say Roadhouse was like in the mix. Like Patrick Swayze was in the mix. And then I decided to use, I don't know, just there was a Valentine's Day, right? That's the one that had Taylor Swift in it. Let's say I wanted to use that. If I paired, like, let's say Taylor Swift and Patrick Swayze together, obviously it's Patrick Swayze from that time and Taylor Swift from that time.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. We're taking the person right out of the movie and then putting them in our movie.
Yes. We're essentially taking the character in that sense in these picks.
Now, of course, we're taking the characters here, but you can't deny that the actors or actresses, who they are, right? So in theory, I could have a movie filled with, I don't know, let's say a bunch of Patrick Swayze's as my supporting lead, as my male lead, and all that kind of stuff, right? So just have a movie filled with Patrick Swayze's if I wanted to.
100%. I did think about going that route at one point before. Like, I had a couple of I had like visions for a couple of different movies with our plan. So
get a little Loki action,
Yeah, so that's a good idea. I'm curious if you end up doing that.
I will not be going that way, but I did think that was funny. Yeah,
I was wondering who could you possibly do that with. But anyways, you got first pick. Is there anything else? Any other things we got to iron out before we start?
No, I think that's it. Okay, so on my first overall pick here, and again, I with 2 people here, I'm not sure how much overlapping is, so we're pretty much going to get the movies that we pitch, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go supporting female. This was a small role for me. I didn't have too many options here, so I'm going to take my number 1 available in the supporting female. I'm taking Megan, Melissa McCarthy in Bridesmaids. I think she is a tour de force, offers a lot of levity to a situation, but it also is a good friend, as you see. She's helping out, I forget her name, but Kristen Wiig's character in Bridesmaid there.
Yeah.
But she offers a lot of humor throughout too. So I think she would be nice to what I'm looking for to support my leading lady, and then also to complement my supporting male down the road as well.
Okay, that is she crossed my mind in the course of my supporting female. So that is that. I think that's a nice pick. She wasn't where I ended up leaning. I do have two options, but I'll go back to that situation in a bit because you're not gonna take one of the people that I have.
Yeah. So
So
lay it on me.
I'm gonna go. Oh man, okay. Because really, what this comes down to is my male lead. That is that is where my story diverges because my female lead, I only have one. Everything else I have two in case you decided you did anything that possibly screwed up my plan.
Hmm.
So with that being the case, I got to do male lead, set the tone, and go with the one that I was leaning towards. That I think is a more compelling story, more relatable story for people. I'm going to go with Crash Davis, Kevin Costner,
Yeah.
Costner in Bull Durham, and we've obviously that is quite old, and that is why I needed to highlight that earlier. That
Hmm. Hmm.
but for me, it's a character who I feel like I relate to a little bit and can get a little creative with his story as I develop this pitch.
Now, did you have a relationship with an older woman in the Chicagoland area while you were in Northwestern who just kind of like had this knack for turning baseball players out of their funks?
No, but I wouldn't. I kind of wish I did. It would have been, yeah, especially in my oft cited. I think it's my sophomore, no, my junior year, where my junior year, sophomore year was good. My junior year, where Shine likes to highlight my poor numbers, like it's all from one year.
Mm-hmm. Shine
Um,
or Doc? You gotta keep Doc in order there.
Everybody likes to say stuff. It's fine.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So, but I think Crash Davis, he gives you that kind of like he's to me like he's just like he is like as every sports fans like kind of guy. Like as much as he didn't
Hmm.
go and make it that far, he's all about the game. That's what he eats, sleeps, and breathes. And I think for the character that I want to pair him with later, I think that's going to make for. I think that pairing alone is what's going to carry this movie.
Yeah, and he's someone who, like you said, he's a guy's guy, but he also needs a woman's touch in his life.
Mhm.
You
Yeah, oh,
know,
yeah.
you know what I mean? I feel like he's like I remember him kind of living in squalor,
Yep.
like didn't really take care of himself all that well. I think
Yes.
adding a woman's touch to his life would be great for him.
This
And
is
then
gonna
Kevin
be a
Costner, of course, is just a great rom-com or romantic lead in general.
yeah, 100%. The character that I'm gonna pair him with is gonna take him in a totally, completely different direction. But yeah. So what do you got for me?
Okay, so we'll
Oh,
go
wait,
back
wait,
and
wait, wait.
well, I was gonna say, yeah,
I
you
got the
got the
swing
snake.
pick.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, jeez. Wow. Well, you know what? Then I'm here I am talking all about the female lead. I'm really not worried about you taking my female lead, but I just don't wanna this is so important to what I'm doing. I'm gonna take Loretta Sage, and she may not be a household name, but you know who is? Sandra Bullock, and that is the actress who plays this character in The Lost City. That is the movie
Oh,
with Channing Tatum and
that's
Brad
new,
Pitt.
isn't it? Right?
Yes, it is newer. I
Brad
watched
Pitt's
this.
in that? I didn't know that.
He's like a supporting role.
Okay.
And he could be. I mean, he's not going to be my supporting male, but he could be an interesting play in this. But yeah, she is an author. She is an action novelist, and
Mhm.
that's kind of how she like gets into with Channing Tatum because he's like the when she's like marketing her book, he basically
He's
like
like the Fabio.
yes, yep, for her character.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
and then they go on this whole thing where he like they get in this like tight spot and they have to save her. And Channing Tatum ends up having to be the guy that kind of does it, even though he's not even remotely qualified to do all that. He just he basically acts
Mhm.
as an action hero. So yeah, she's kind of tough, and I think you pair her, who's like this, I mean, like she's an author. She's all about books. That's her life. You pair her with a guy like Crash Davis. I mean, people are gonna pay to see that.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, she's an author. Baseball's a romantic sport. It's easy for her to kind of fall in love with the romanticization of the game.
Hmm.
I can see that there. Another classic rom-com actress there, Sandra Bullock.
Yep, 100%. I feel like this has like that potential comfort food kind of feeling to it that would be very rewatchable just based on those two alone.
And I like this. I feel like you're getting a nice. I feel like where the setting and backdrop's going, like a nice North Carolina, obviously Durham Bull, South Carolina, kind of like Bible Belt.
Hmm.
Graceland of America. Yeah, I can see where that's going there. Unless
Now,
I
I
take
can't.
that right now.
You could, but I am curious where you're going because all we have right now is your supporting female.
My support. So I got 2 picks coming up here, and I kind of wanted to see where you went with your male lead here, so I can kind of play my hand. And I got, let me see, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 leads here. And again, like you said, kind of varying in age, so I could choose from. So if you happen to took someone, then I was like, okay, I can pivot and do maybe more of a high school, younger themed movie as opposed to my original plan here. So with that said, give me Robbie, played by Adam Sandler, in The Wedding Singer.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just write this in here.
Him and Melissa McCarthy, and that could be like, I know she's not like his love interest, but still, that's like just funny.
But they're going to be in the mix. They're going to be interacting with one another. Robbie, of course, gets his heart broken. He's a lover boy. He's a rocker. He's got a mullet. He means well. Maybe there is some sort of a musical element that I can bring up in here.
Oh, yeah.
Broken heart. He's just looking for love. Maybe he's still stuck in the 80s.
Yep.
I think it can all work.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me.
I just like that those two being in the mix together.
In the same mix. And just to kind of give a peek behind the curtain, some of the other ones I was looking for here was Matthew, Emile Hirsch, and The Girl Next Door. You ever see that movie?
Emile Hirsch and The Girl Next Door. Why can't
it's like the girl is like a porn star, and she's trying to run away from his life, and then her life, and then she falls in love with the girl next door. There, Cameron, Joseph Gordon-Levitt from 10 Things I Hate About You.
Okay.
Ben. Jimmy Fallon in Fever Pitch. If I wanted to go for an all Boston movie, that was I had baseball in the brain like you there.
Okay.
Kumail Nanjiani in the Big Sick.
Yep, of course.
And then if I wanted to like live through if I really wanted to live through like what I would hope to see myself in a movie, it would be Jacob, Ryan Gosling in Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh,
and that was the pipe dream. Yeah,
Wait, okay.
That's a good point. He's not really the he's a support.
I felt that's an instance where I would feel comfortable if you flexed him.
They're almost co-male leads, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like we run into some of that here on a few different things. But yeah, I would have accepted that 100%.
But the top 2 I was going between, if I wasn't going to go Robbie, it was Paul Rudd as Pete, and This Is 40.
In This Is 40. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, knocked up 2.
Yeah.
But I feel like Adam Singer is a great lead role for a rom-com, as is Paul Rudd.
Right. Oh yeah, Paul Rudd's like almost built for that kind of stuff.
But where do I want to go here now? Supporting male is another good one because now I'm thinking like, do I want this to be a friend or an enemy?
Yeah, you could go either way on this. 100%.
And I have a couple of options here. And I think I'm going to go enemy. Give me Kevin Raleigh, played by Owen Wilson, in Meet the Parents.
Ooh.
Very nice guy, has his shit together. Robbie doesn't have his shit together.
Yeah.
He's kind of like an artist living on the fringe. Kevin Raleigh is like a angel investor, high in finance, kind of retired. Yeah. Has all this money on. He's probably great to bring home to the parents. He probably gets flying colors from the parents. Yeah. Very nice guy, but almost in like a condescending way.
Yeah, he's like every dude's like worst nightmare. Like, that's your ex. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's a good pick. That movie kills me, man. It's so like.
It holds up. It holds up.
It does. It's so uncomfortable for me. It's just, oh god, yeah. Just
when you're going through making the proposal, you live your life through Ben Stiller, but then after a certain point, you start to get where Robert De Niro's coming from. It's like the whole movie takes on a different perception there.
Yes, 100%. It's like it's equal. They're both odd human beings. That's for damn sure, dude. Can you imagine if you were about to like propose to somebody and and then like you find out like their relative got proposed like just before you, like it just screws everything up. Like that's brutal. What a way to start the movie. What a tone setter.
I know it is awful. Yeah.
All right. So you
All
got
right.
I still don't see how yours is forming yet, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I think it's Robbie and Kevin Raleigh, like that is a good pairing. And then Melissa McCarthy in the mix.
The female lead's going to be key here.
I could see Robbie and Megan being like siblings or cousins or something in that effect. If you wanted to go that route, interesting. So, I'm not too worried about you taking my setting or backdrop in this. So I'll leave that alone for a bit. So I have you've locked up the male category. So, all right. So I'm gonna do. All right. I'm gonna do my romantic. Sorry, big romantic gesture or relationship obstacle. Sorry. Yeah, I am going to do. Okay, so the relationship obstacle. I think because this give people a little bit greater idea before I get into what my pitch is later for the movie. But basically, the obstacle is going to be on top of Loretta not being from the area that Crash resides in, which is such a small thing, of course. These two are very different people from almost essentially different worlds, with one person not being an academic, but at the same time, like a book writer, you're kind of, you're of a different, very much of a different mindset than an ex-athlete. So that alone is going to be the thing that they have to overcome after they spend this romantic weekend together and then decide they want to actually give it a try in some capacity. So relationship obstacle, we'll sum it up, Wes, as two people from two different worlds.
Okay.
So that covers relationship obstacle. Now I'm going to go to the supporting female, the supporting lady in this. So, all right. I was actually thinking about using Lillian Donovan, Maya Rudolph's character from Bridesmaids, just to have Maya Rudolph.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
But I'm going to go a different route, and I'm going to use cousin Nikki from played by Gia Carides, who I don't think I've seen anything else from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Of course, the sequel, and then the third one, which the third one was not great. Not that the third one was particularly good either. But anyways, she's a little bit outrageous. She's a little bit loud. And my whole plan with her is where we have Crash Davis. He's who is the woman from Bull Durham? Susan Sarandon.
I always confuse her and Signori Weaver.
Yeah. So he's moved on from Susan Sarandon, or she moved on from him. I'm not certain on. I know she definitely moved on from him in this case because Crash couldn't get his shit together, deal with his post-playing career, and then he ends up meeting Nikki somewhere along the way, and she's kind of very out there. We see that in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and they have this toxic relationship. They're on and off again all the time, and it's only playing further into Crash's like borderline depression that he's dealing with in his post-playing career days. So yeah, give me cousin Nikki for My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Cousin Nikki, let me put that down.
Yeah, we'll just call it. Don't worry about the actress name because no one else knows.
Okay, so you got cousin Nikki and two people from two different worlds as a relationship obstacle.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Here now, let's see. What do I have left? I have female lead. I have supporting male, romantic gesture, and relationship obstacle. I'm going to go ahead and get the female lead out of the way here. It's very tough for me to go. I'm kind of going back and forth between two. And it's either Rachel McAdams as Claire in Wedding Crashers or Rachel Jensen, Mila Kunis, for getting Shara Marshall.
Oh, that's
tough here because I don't want to pigeonhole myself too deep into the wedding corner.
Oh, wow. You just may have unlocked something for me. An idea for me.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Wow. That was okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
But sorry. I'm gonna take the easier route here because I feel like I can do something with Rachel Jensen working in a luxury hotel. But give me Claire, Rachel McAdams of Wedding Crashers.
That's a nice pick.
Mm.
She's obviously like mixed in a few.
She's all time
Right.
too. That
Yeah,
character specifically, great,
yeah.
great.
This is very true. But she's in general. Rachel McAdams is in quite a bit of rom com. So she
Mhm.
was definitely on my radar as well. In that character specifically, like you said, all time. Um, cool. That's a nice pick. You've got me. Sorry, you got me jotting stuff down now because of
I was
something.
also thinking about Sack as a supporting male, Bradley Cooper from Wedding Crashers, to be that villain type. But again, I didn't
Oh,
want to stay too close and too close to the Wedding Crashers theme here. But
yep.
we could have a possible reunion of Owen Wilson and Rachel McAdams here. Kind of rekindling some love as a supporting male and the female lead.
Yeah.
Maybe there. So that's what we're working with. And now
Nice
I
pick.
need a setting or backdrop.
Swear to God, if you pick Durham, I'm gonna be so pissed.
No. This is
Kidding.
gonna be. I'll do the Cape Cod wedding time. Cape Cod
Nice.
summer.
Can't go wrong with that.
I was thinking the Hamptons,
Yeah. Could have
but
done.
it's the same thing. Might as well keep it local.
You know what we haven't talked about at all either is you know what, maybe we could do like if we pitch like a coming of age movie at some point. Summer Catch.
Hmm.
That could have, like, that's in the mix for all this too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jessica Biel, Freddie Prinze Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, there we go. So you should have just done all sports movie rom-coms and just have it take place at the Diamond.
I should have, yeah. But I think this will still work out for me, the direction I'm going in, because okay. So you've done your two picks, right? So
Mhm.
I'm good to go. All right. So I still have setting, backdrop, and then big romantic gesture. So all right. For the sake of time, I'm going to lock up Durham, North Carolina as my setting backdrop. And
Mhm.
then what you've unlocked for me, I'm like
Oh boy.
blown away by how well I think this could work. I'm going to go the villain route as well for the supporting male. And
Okay.
I'm going to go with Aldous Snow, played by Russell
Oh,
Brand from Forgetting
okay.
Sarah Marshall. And
Mhm.
he is going to be Loretta Sage's boyfriend in this movie. And I could totally see that. I could see that being like one of those instances where it's like, why the fuck are these two people together? They are just so awful to one another. And then and then obviously with Aldous Snow, like he'll we saw what happens with Sarah Marshall. Like he'll do it for a little bit, and then he'll
With the
move
sorrow
on.
suckers. You could be
Yeah,
the queen of the sorrow suckers.
bullshit. So yeah, I love this pairing. I think I'd be curious how. I mean, he's Russell Brand's supposedly kind of like a jerk, right? Isn't that the thing?
Yeah, I don't really know. I think he's had some stuff accused of him, and he is kind of similar to Aldous Snow in the fact that he's like a recovering addict.
Oh, okay.
So
I
I
didn't
think
know
he's
that part.
sober and all that stuff. But
Okay.
I think there's been some accusations against him. Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I didn't know he was dealing with that. Obviously, that changed things
I think
somewhat. But
long time though. I don't think this
Mhm.
is like a recent thing.
Sure, doesn't give people an excuse to be a jerk about stuff. That's
Oh,
my one thing is like how are him and Sandra Bullock. Maybe it would just feel really natural for them, like just take getting all that
well,
negative
in
energy out.
real life, Sandra Bullock dated the guy Jesse James, who had some like reality TV show back in the day about like a West Coast chopper type show where they redid
Oh,
motorcycles, and then I think they found a whole bunch of like Nazi propaganda. Like he was like a huge like World War II Nazi enthusiast. Like he had all this like memorabilia and everything
wow.
that I guess he was a collector. Maybe he was like a part of a biker gang that had like neo-Nazi ties. I don't know, but it
Oh,
all kind of centers around love for Nazis, I guess.
jeez.
And then they had like a very public breakup, like that was all in the tabloids. So
I
maybe this is a kind of on brand for something in her character.
Okay, maybe she'll feel a little. Maybe we feel too real for her that Sandra Bullock will bow. I hope not. But real quick before you go and make your next picks, I did want to mention for some like honorable mentions. I know you've mentioned
Mm-hmm.
some of your other options. My supporting for my supporting male roles, I had Jacob Palmer on my short list.
Okay. Yep.
So this is why you got to prep like that, because you could have taken that from me, and that was kind of where I was leaning until you unlocked all this snow in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have also, I was thinking about Jeremy Gray, played by Vince Vaughn in Wedding Crashers because I feel like
Mhm.
Crashers. Because I feel like he's the number 2 to Owen Wilson in that movie.
Yeah, and I would say that you could probably flip flop those in that situation. I'd be okay with that too.
Okay. And then I will go back too quickly to my male lead just because I said that there were 2 different directions that I was going in with this. The other person I was going to pick is Tim from About Time, which is a Rachel McAdam movie.
Yeah.
So the actor's name is Domhnall Gleeson. He's General Hux.
Mhm.
And he has like this ability. His family, like the men in his family, have this ability to time travel, and it's
Right.
like with like they have like the ultimate power. Like they can do whatever they want, pretty much. So I was going to use
That's
that
pretty
as like
cool.
a point of like I kind of like that idea, but this felt easier to pitch for me, like the Crash Davis route.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one I'm most disappointed about is my supporting male role.
Hmm.
There's a couple in there that I really like, particularly Sidney Fife, Jason Segel from I Love You Man.
Hmm.
Good friend.
Hmm.
I think that works. Stifler, if I was going for the high school route,
Oh
Sean William
yeah.
Scott. But this was the real toss up between Owen Wilson and Meet the Parents, and then Sandy Lyle, who was played by Philip Seymour Hoffman in Along Came Polly.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
heavy on the
Ooh.
comedy role there, you know?
Oh yeah, I will say too. Going back to Sean William Scott, like as much as he's playing like a high school kid there, like that's one of those ones where it's like you could have used him with all the adults. It would no one would
It
fucking
still
bat an eye.
works. Yeah,
Yeah, no way. Oh,
Um,
that would have been funny. We could do a coming of age one. Like, I think like they have that. Like we've talked about so many. Like it just another time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many high school, college, that type of stuff that we could choose from there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need a relationship obstacle, and I am between parents not approving of the current relationship,
Okay.
or yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, that one makes perfect sense. Here,
Yeah,
you have a wedding singer pair with Claire. No way that her parents are going to be okay with that. Those people are loaded. He's a wedding singer. Totally works.
okay. And then my big romantic gesture, because it's tough here, because I feel like I've cornered myself into all of these wedding themes, which I think fits into it, but I feel like I'm just making the wedding singer in a different with different actors here. And this is the problem that I'm running into, because like the big romantic gesture, like immediately my mind goes to like some song, you know.
Mhm.
But
Well,
maybe this could be a kind of like a Graduate type situation where the wedding singer disrupts the wedding
hmm.
and gets the girl back,
Okay.
which is again
Yep.
the wedding singer, Wedding Crashers, anything like that. But those are great movies. People love those movies.
Sure, they're all timers, and hey, we haven't seen something like The Wedding Singer in I don't know how long, so it could
Those
work.
Wedding Crashers, yeah.
Yeah, and you're using there you go. So why not? We're overdue for it. My big romantic gesture is going to be Crash. Okay, again, who's all about baseball. It's his sport is his life. That's all he's done forever and ever. And now he's come to the end of his career. And as they go through this, tough, rough patch after they seem to connect so well over their passion for what they do, Crash, they go through this breakup period, and then Crash realizes like I need to get to know her more. I need to like finally. I don't read anything. I need to check out her stuff and see what she does. And he goes and reads her entire catalog, and then goes back to her. And then he talks to her about all their stories, and that is his last ditch effort to try and show her how much he cares about her. And then he comes to find out that she also went and tracked down every single one of his baseball cards from his whole minor league career, because in the course of it, again, making this up for the movie, in the course of it, he lost all of his cards, and his ex Nikki burned all of his baseball cards.
There we go. Okay, so he does book reports, and she picks up a new hobby.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I like that.
uh,
I was going to say, I'm having more fun kind of riffing off of your story here. I think another possible option is that like he's like, I don't know anything about this woman, so I'm going to find out everything about her. And then he does like an ancestry.com and then finds out that she used to date a neo-Nazi biker guy. And then it's like, well, I can't do this.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's like a real like Larry David situation. Like it's kind of hot, but it's completely wrong. It's against everything I believe. But
yeah. But what does this say about me? If she's interested in me after she was interested in that guy, like she must have known, right? You couldn't not know, right? Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we got it all here. I'll run through what we'll each run through what we have, and then we'll give a pitch of each here.
Mm-hmm.
So for my setting, I got a Cape Cod wedding during the summertime. My male lead is Robbie, as Adam Sandler from The Wedding Singer. My female lead is Rachel McAdams as Claire in Wedding Crashers. My supporting male lead, perhaps the villain, the foil, the antagonist, is Kevin Raleigh, played by Owen Wilson in Meet the Parents. Supporting female is Melissa McCarthy as Megan from Bridesmaids. And a relationship obstacle is the parents do not approve of the husband, boyfriend, fiance, Robbie. And the big romantic gesture is disrupting a wedding to profess his love for Claire.
I didn't think about this before, but as you ran through that again, I love the idea of Robbie against Kevin Raleigh, like just him losing his shit.
Oh
This
yeah,
guy. He's like the nice, like he's the nice guy, but also like kind of like condescending in a way. So it just seems perfect.
I think is it Glenn? Is Glenn the foil in Wedding Singer? He's kind of like an 80s version of Kevin Raleigh anyway. He's like a finance bro who has
You're
all
not
the
helping
money.
yourself.
I know. The more I think about it, it's like
so my setting and backdrop is going to be Durham, North Carolina, where one Crash Davis lives. Of course, Kevin Costner from the movie Bull Durham. Female lead will be Loretta Sage, who was played by Sandra Bullock in The Lost City. The supporting male actor will be Aldous Snow, played by Russell Brand from Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And then the supporting lady will be Cousin Nikki from My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship obstacle will be two people from two different worlds. And then the big romantic gesture will be book reports and card collecting.
Did you have any other settings or backdrops in your back pocket, or were you pretty set on getting the Durham, North Carolina?
I was set on two routes. I mean, like if you had for some reason taken Durham, North Carolina, because it made sense for what you were doing, then I would have just picked another. I maybe would have done like Nashville or something like that.
Yeah.
But I did if I went the Tim, from About Time, like if I did that route, it would have been set in London.
Okay,
that would have been the only difference. Yeah.
The other one's kind of generally, I had a college campus during the fall, a suburban high school during the fall times, New York City in winter. That's kind of a romantic place there.
That's a great one. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's.
And then if I was going Ben from Fever Pitch, Boston in the spring, Red Sox time, baseball time there.
Naturally.
Other romantic gestures. I had donate a kidney or like do like something like that to like profess the love,
Mm-hmm.
Beat up a bully and ask out to prom.
Okay. Ask out to prom. Okay. Yeah. So for me, again, like if I only had alternates I wasn't too concerned about like us having crossover in these two categories.
Right.
But for relationship obstacle, if I went the other route, it would have been Loretta learning of Tim's gift and then kind of losing it, because it is like a odd thing for like to find out like, hey, your partner has like time travel abilities. Like,
how do you tell your friends that?
How do you tell your friends that? And how do you like? What if originally you guys didn't work out and he just manipulated it or she just manipulated it so that way you guys worked out together and it was never really the true love that you thought it was. And that's kind of what my whole story was going to be in that route. And then like big romantic gesture would have been for him to like find a way to fully document as best he can his whole life with Loretta, all the time traveling that he's done, and let her know about every inch of detail that they've shared together, and then giving, which then provides him like provides her some insight into his abilities and giving her the full truth, and then they live happily ever after.
Yeah. All right,
So,
I
harder to
like that.
pitch, harder to explain, but
It is.
yeah. But anyways, what? So
Well,
give me your title and your pitch.
what you could have done is every time that they do the deed, they can travel back in time together, but they have to be interlocked.
Oh, that yeah, that could work. No, you made me laugh because like there's a comic called Sex Criminals, and
Oh,
it's like
okay.
these two individuals. Anytime that they have sex, time freezes, and then they find out at some point like that they both have this ability, like because they have sex together. So it made me think of that.
Now that's probably the ultimate ability for anyone who worries about premature ejaculation. 'Cause it's just time just stops. You're just going forever there. There's no 1-2,
Yep.
1-2 chumps. No,
One pump
two
chump.
pump chumps.
Two pump
One,
chumps. That's what it is.
yeah, either one. I was trying to give myself a
It's
little
good
credit.
that you
for
don't
two
know
pump.
what that is, Wes.
It's been a while since you ever really have to worry about that sort of thing.
That's also true. That's fair.
We're really trying to impress anybody.
Oh,
It
man.
just happens when it happens.
Happens when it happens. That's how it works. Good to know. That's what it's like being a parent.
Yeah, exactly.
We got our title and pitch. Would you care to lead us off here?
Yes, I will do my pitch here and try to end it with the title. But okay, so let me set the stage here. Robbie is a wedding singer. Stop me if you've heard this before, of a local kind of cover bands for on Cape Cod here, and he makes a decent living in the summertime. He tends bar in the wintertime. And he's always been close with Megan, who is the sister of Claire here. They've kind of known each other. Claire is the younger sister, Megan's the older sister, and he's always kind of had a thing for Claire. They always kind of grown up. They have Megan and Robbie have more of like a brother sister relationship there, where they kind of have some physical violence. They pick on each other. They go back and forth. They make fun of each other. But Claire is kind of like the goody good, pretty girl that Robbie always has his eye on. But he's dating a real piece of, or she's dating a real piece of shit. In fact, she's almost engaged to it. And essentially, this is just Wedding Crashers meets the wedding singer here. They're a part of a very powerful family. So she doesn't want to disappoint her family there. So she's marrying Kevin Raleigh, who's this finance bro with all this great money. Is a great family. On paper, he looks great to the senator. What's his name? Christopher Walken. The father. So all that looks great, but something's missing in her life. And she's always running around at night, kind of hanging around Robbie's shows and all that sort of thing. And Robbie just had his heart broken because his wife left him from the wedding singer because he was just always going to be a rocker, never going to go anywhere. So he starts to get his shit together. But when they're getting married, they're like, we want you to sing at our wedding. And he's like, I can't do that. That's too much for me. So then he has a whole breakdown there. Meanwhile, Kevin Raleigh's cheating around. He's sleeping around doing his thing.
What?
Stop me if you've heard this before. Real bad guy.
Real piece of shit. Wow.
Yeah. And Robbie knows this and doesn't know what to do. So he confronts Megan and Claire about it. And Claire gets very upset. This is just shortly before their wedding. They have a big blowout fight. She accuses him trying to sabotage their relationship. Doesn't really buy it. So she's still going forward, albeit hesitantly, through the wedding. And this leaves Robbie down in the dumps now. But then after, talking with some family and some friends, he kind of gets the courage to be like, no, this is who I am. I'm going to write this great song called Grow Old With You. And I'm going to break up the wedding right when they say, if anyone has any problems here, speak now or forever hold your peace. He kicks it open with a guitar, walking down the aisle, says, I want to grow old with you. And that's the movie. And it's called Crashing the Wedding with the Wedding Singer.
That's the full title?
It's a working title there. There's a colon in there somewhere.
You know what it also made me think of too is like Crash the Wedding and singing too is friggin' Saving Silverman. too. That's
Oh
another one.
yeah, that is
Amanda
a really
Peet
good
is
one.
another one we
Mhm.
didn't use. Jack Black's another one we
Jack
didn't
Black,
use.
the other guy, I always forget
The
his name. He's
coach.
great in it. Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
or
yeah.
not coach, but the
Oh, yeah.
Steve. I think his actor's name is Steve something. But anyway,
Yeah, I think you're right. But yes, yeah, there's some those are some good options in there too. Damn, it's just crazy how we like there's just so many to pick from. It's such an like
there it's tough
overwhelming
to
table.
narrow it down. And again, like that movie's more of a comedy than like a romantic comedy.
Very
Like that.
true.
So it's like, does it count? But it doesn't cross the mind immediately.
Yeah,
But please
100%.
save me from my plagiarized story here and do
Okay.
give your pitch.
Okay, cool. So we are in Durham, North Carolina, 3 years after Crash Davis has decided to call it a career. Susan
Hmm.
Sarandon has left him, realizing that Crash, there's not much to him now that he doesn't play anymore because he doesn't know how to go on without having baseball in his life in the manner in which he did. Um, this story is about an ex minor league baseball player who knows nothing outside of his sport, and he falls in love with an adventure novelist who's never watched 5 minutes of a sporting event.
Mhm,
Just to take you
mhm.
through it a little bit more. So I already mentioned about Susan Sarandon leaving, and now Crash Davis is hooking up, dating, however you want to put it. Cousin Nikki from My Big Fat Greek Wedding, who has ventured off to parts unknown. Now that her cousin has found true love, but she can't seem to find a nice Greek boy to settle down with.
Mhm.
And then coming into town, we meet Loretta Sage and Aldous Snow, who very much do not fit in. But Loretta's been struggling a little bit, trying to figure out how she's going to pivot in her career. She's been writing adventure novels and they've succeeded, but things are starting to go in the wrong direction for her. She's having a little bit of writer's block and she's trying to get a little bit outside of her comfort zone, but still work in the adventure realm. So
Mhm.
she's trying to find a way to utilize American sports to see if she can get out of this rut that she's in. And baseball is in some ways the easiest sport to write about because it is so romantic, as you mentioned before, which is how she meets Crash Davis. They spend time together, wind up falling for each other. He ends up popping all the snow in the nose at one point
Mm.
because he's so
Mhm.
awful to Loretta Sage, excuse me. And then over time, as they fall in love with each other, they things start to become contentious because they are so different from one another, and she wants to take him with her in her travels because she's been such a successful novelist. She can see the world, but Crash doesn't know how to move on from Durham, how to move on from his playing career, where he spent so much of his life, all of his adult life. And and then after they experience their breakup, one of them does a book report, one of them learns about card collecting, and then they live happily ever after. The end.
I like
Oh,
this.
and the title of this is Becoming the Bull.
Oh, I like that. See, that's a winner there. See, now what I think you could do is maybe Loretta Sage, hugely popular adventure, action writer, is looking to slow down a little bit. So she goes to Durham, North Carolina. She's trying to get Aldous Snow to like convince them to go like, hey, this is the right decision. He doesn't really want to though. He's still got like a fast-paced lifestyle. He still likes the city. So there's already a little bit of contention kind of going,
Mhm.
between them because of that move.
I like that. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
Loretta Sage part, like that could work very well. There's, I think, of any spot in this pitch that has the most room for improvement.
I like it. I think we got a movie on our hands there with Becoming the Bull. I
I
like that.
swear to God, if anybody steals this from us, I'm gonna be
And
so
and
pissed.
maybe, they think they're so dissimilar, but they're really kind of similar, and that's why they
Yes,
don't they butt heads because they're like kind of
yes,
too hard-headed, like successful
yes.
people. I guess Crash Davis isn't necessarily successful, but
He's, I mean, in the realm of baseball, I mean, yeah, he's not like overly successful, but like for
he's set in
athletes,
his way. He's
yeah.
a bull, so he's kind of
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you. And I think I alluded to that earlier. Like they're both very passionate about the
mm,
thing in life that they care about. Her, or they're writing him with his baseball. So yes, 100%. Like it's, like as I was doing this, I was like, okay, I feel like, so the other movie would have been called Time Lost. Um, I,
mm.
I thought that was a little more like unique, but I feel like Becoming the Bull is like, this is a rom com.
This is a winner. Yeah. The time lost is like a foreign film.
Yeah,
It's like The
probably.
English Patient. English
Probably.
Patient was received well, but
There you
this
go.
this is a popcorn movie that everyone wants to go see, teenagers and parents alike.
All right, so get these 2 movies made, and then we can go and we can review them between yours and mine. But make sure we're involved. We need like
Yeah,
executive
someone
producer
call
credits.
Harvey Weinstein. You know,
Oh God, jeez.
I couldn't think of
Good
any
Lord.
other movie producers, unfortunately. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the first one that came to mind.
that's not the guy we want involved in our
Yeah,
project.
you
but
got him
thank
in
you.
your phone, right? You're good friends with him, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh wow.
All right,
Jeez.
this was fun. So we'll do
You had that on
this.
their bingo card today. My goodness. All right.
Uh,
All right.
But no, this is good. We'll keep this in line. Coming of age movies, action movies. It's all on the table.
Action movies could be really fun because we can get really weird with it because like this is something as a kid I thought about a lot too with like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. Like, I mean, like that'd be really tough, but we get creative. Like we can have some fun with that.
Crashing on Tatooine or the Shire, something like that. Yeah, all good stuff. I like that. So yeah, we'll keep this in the tickler file for later. Speaking of tickler files, time to get your tickets because the train is getting ready to leave the station of the disco.
Choo-choo, bitches.
All right, we mentioned action movies. Nick, you just watched an action movie sequel.
Yeah, Extraction 2. The first Extraction. If you like the first Extraction, you're gonna like the second Extraction. If you didn't like the first Extraction, I kind of wonder if you like action movies. Not that everybody needs to, but it's just like there's like a plot that makes sense and it's interesting enough. And then the action is you have a main character and I forget Chris Hemsworth's character's name, but he does a great job. The premise of what he is, like he's this one guy, he has like his little team, but he's this one guy that goes in and saves people from awful situations and pulls them out somehow. And both ideal, him and that individual survive. I think it's a nice little it's like a unique enough idea that but also kind of feels like this makes sense. And then the action is top notch. We recently talked about Argyle, and obviously there's with the smoke bomb scene, there's some great action. But of course, and I'm blanking on the director's name of that movie.
Matthew Vaughn.
Thank you. But he did Kingsman, which for me, like over the last maybe over the last decade or something, like of like hand-to-hand combat type stuff. Obviously, Marvel does like this crazy big stuff, and then we get cool stuff from Star Wars and whatever. But like hand-to-hand type stuff, I think that Matthew Vaughn does some of the best work that you're going to see.
He's pretty good. He's up there. He's tough to beat. Like the only one that comes to mind is John Wick. There, that's close up there. They got a lot of good stunt people working on there. Right? Isn't the director of those movies a former stunt man?
Yeah,
I think that's the case.
You're probably right. And the thing with my difference there is like what is the camera work with the action in the Kingsman, and then we get camera work. Actually, you know what, Wes? As I'm talking about it more. The camera work that we get in the big scene in Kingsman in the church, like where it's like kind of just one moving around the whole time, like that, like we get a lot of that in Extraction. So it's not a spoiler. Like you if you look it up quickly, you'll see that kind of stuff. But it's not the same as Kingsman, but it's unique in a similar-ish kind of way, I guess.
That's been I've heard good things about Extraction. I heard actually like arguably better things about Extraction 2. So those have got to be on my list. I got to watch those.
And I think if somebody wanted to, you could watch it. You could watch Extraction 2. No, you should watch Extraction 1 first. You should absolutely watch it first. But it's the thing that is the only confusing thing for me is I know these are both made post COVID and like right after COVID, we were getting so much stuff for like at home viewing. But I don't understand how these weren't cinema releases. They're that good. They really are.
The other one that you might like, which is I feel like kind of similar, is Triple Frontier. That's another Netflix movie with Ben Affleck.
Triple Frontier. I don't know if I've heard of that.
Yeah, I think that's called Triple Frontier. But they're former veterans who still do like private security overseas and like Iraq and everything. They come across some money, so it's kind of like a heist movie, and then things go awry. Pretty good.
I mean, Charlie Hunnam's in it, so you have me interested right away.
Yeah.
And Affleck and Oscar Isaac.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal.
Oh, I didn't know. I forgot Pascal was on.
What a cast!
It's pretty good.
Jeez, yeah, I got to check this out. Damn.
Um, Now I have watched. I'm all up to date on True Detective season 4, which I believe will be our
Yeah,
episode next week, right?
let's just do season 4. Keep it simple.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Are you up to date? Because they did release episode 5 on Friday ahead of the Super Bowl.
I did not watch 5 yet, but I've watched everything otherwise. And I will say, I feel differently than you in the sense of you feel like everything's gone down. I
Yeah.
felt 1 was like, okay. And then 2 was like step in the wrong direction. And then I thought 3 was better. And then I thought 4 was better.
So yeah, I think it trends down until episode 4. I liked episode 5. This is in many ways like Game of Thrones, where the penultimate episode is the big episode, and then they wrap a lot of things up in episode 6 here. So if that kind of gives you, you find out a lot, but you don't know who. You don't. The murder isn't solved. If that makes
So
sense.
it's not over, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense then. That makes sense then. Okay. Because I was gonna say because sometimes
There's
that happens.
interesting character developments.
Got it. Okay. Cool. I
Yeah.
am all right.
But there's still, I'm worried. I heard that the episode 6 is 90 minutes. So if that's the case, I'm happy because there is a lot to wrap up.
Oh, okay. Okay. That because I hear 9 minutes. Like, why? Good to know. It's
If it's just an hour, then you're gonna miss. They're gonna throw things out and just gloss over things, or whatever. It's not gonna be enough time. Not if it's 90 minutes. I have a little bit more faith.
another thing we should consider too is like build a mystery show or like movie or mystery series.
Oh, that would be fun. That could be something maybe in October, spooky season.
That's a good call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, see, now we got a whole bunch of things here. And now that I'm thinking, there's so many side characters that I loved supporting roles in this rom-com draft. It's just like ranking rom-com supporting characters. So I'm looking like in the back of my my screen here, my green screen. I see Chris Pratt. You ever see the 5-Year Engagement?
Yeah.
Chris Pratt's amazing in that. So is I forget her name, but she's in Community. Alison Brie, she's also great in it. Yeah, that's his wife.
Oh yeah. Wow.
And he's singing like Spanish or Latin or something to her during the wedding. Like it's great.
I know that's Siegel. It's Emily Blunt too, right?
Yeah. They're really good. That's a good movie. Kind of sad, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, definitely a sad one. Yeah, I'm excited. This one idea that you had about the build a rom-com is like parlayed into
going
at
nuts
least
right now.
5 more. Yeah.
But True Detective next week. So again, as much as I've been down on this season, I'm not sure how much episode 5 salvages it. I'm not sure if 6 really salvages it. I think it's pretty firmly at that number 3 spot for me right now.
Number 3. Yeah, I mean, I still think it might be for me as well. Like it's just, but I felt like this was trending in a like this is. I mean, obviously I haven't seen number 2, but I feel pretty comfortable trusting you that 2 is worse.
Yeah, and that's just kind of like the consensus opinion too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'll be eager to hear what you think after episode 5, and then at the finale as well. So that I'm excited to talk about that because I haven't really talked about that with too many people. And there's not a lot of while there's like YouTubers who break down and give all the Easter eggs on the episodes and stuff and kind of give you some like extra meaning on it. I want more commentary on it, if that makes sense, instead of just like here's the dots and the theories and the Easter eggs and the little things that you missed.
Yeah, there's no one talking about like what their opinions on it and how they feel about it and shit. You mean?
Right. Yeah. I haven't seen too much of that. So
that's why we do what we do.
I'll be eager to share my thoughts with you.
We'll provide it for the people. We just need like maybe one other show to do it for us, and that's it.
Yes, exactly. We'll be first in line there next week at the same bat time, same bat place as always.